Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Today on the program, we'll be taking a look at a new terrorist group. Well, maybe not so new, but of course the latest group that even the defense headquarters had to warn Nigerians about, that there is a new group. They are gradually gaining momentum and of course unleashing terror on communities where they hold sway. That's what we intend to take a look at on the program today. And joining the conversation is a security consultant, High Chief Darlington Omoro. Thank you for being here, High Chief.
Yeah, I've got no choice. Anytime
we call.
Anytime I'm summoned,
you
I will always
respond.
Yes, I will always be here.
Like, we were saying before we came on air, and I asked a question. I did say that where exactly are these new guys coming from? And, you were quick to say that not necessarily entirely new, but maybe you'd like to refresh our memories as to the very first time that this group, that we heard about them in Nigeria.
I think we first had something like this about 2018, 2019. But
was it the same name?
I don't even know who names them.
Because that calls for concern.
The challenge is who names them. Boko Haram was not given to themselves as Boko Haram. If you trace the origin of Boko Haram, you'll see that Boko Haram originated from Yusufuwa group.
Okay.
And some of these names are plastered on these terrorist groups, maybe by some persons, maybe by virtue of what they do, their modus operandi. And
then you liken that to what is similar to...
Yes, I think, for instance, Boko Haram was given to Boko Haram from the West, not even from Nigeria. They were merely used to describe them as those who don't want formal education. But if you look at the history of Yusuf, who founded that body, Yusuf was running what looked like an Islamic school, where he had to gather some people, and then part of it was like a philanthropist idea, was taking care of some persons and at the same time educating them, giving them the other education. Let's not take that way. And so, after the death of Yusuf, and moved to the forest, away from town, after the problems with the police, and gradually, and then ISWAP, a terrorist group in the Middle East, and so they got their own name from apart from that. But this Lukarawa group, again, I really don't have the exact history of how they came about this name for now, but I'm sure in a little while I'll be able to get that
information.
Of course, we have known that the group had come after they had had one or two issues in Sokoto. Before this one in Kebbi. The one in Kebbi is making so much has happened, to fight back. Against I want to drag you into global insecurity. What we're suffering today as terrorism actually started with the use of some persons to fight their people by America. America trained some persons and were using them against their own people and some other persons. And then these people eventually turned around and became a problem to America themselves. If you remember that history. I don't want to begin to mention names. Now, it's the same thing, the same error we have committed here. See, the biggest problem that brings about insecurity, I have said in all media I have visited to do analysis, is simple. Do not arm anybody against another. Do not arm any group against another group. The danger in arming anybody is the fact that that firearm you have given to Mr. A to help you achieve your selfish motive or interest could be used against you tomorrow.
Right.
Because it is very easy to hand firearm to somebody or group of persons to say, use this for this purpose, for me. The most difficult thing is disarming that person. You cannot get back that firearm because if you make attempts, he could use it against you. And so the moment you got to the level of arming anybody, you forgot that tomorrow that you could eventually become the victim. That is how global terrorism started. You arm some people, you want to achieve some things, you want them to fight for you, and all of that. And then at the end of the day, you train them also. Haven't trained them, you have exposed some of your secrets to them. And then in return, what do you get? What did we get in the Middle East? Now the same error committed here. Is it that you no longer have trust in your security arrangement? Is it that you no longer have trust in your military? Is it that you no longer have trust in your apparatus? So at the end of the day, you will become a victim. Illicit circulation of small arms and light weapons in anywhere in the world is a challenge. If I were sitting here now, we're talking very peacefully. If I brought out a shotgun and shot into this roof, all of you will run away. Right? And so we've had these problems, particularly with some sect of people who want to achieve certain things by all means. We had this problem in Zamfara. The illegal miners who had to employ some people to protect them against state actors who want to come after them to arrest them, and then they will, put up a fight against the state actors. At the end of the day, those guns were turned against their principals.
So High Chief, in all of this...
I've not answered the second question.
Okay, go ahead.
The porosity of our border.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
With Nigeria Republic.
I know you are in a hurry to bombard me.
It's fine.
What
I was going to ask is in relation to Nigeria Republic.
No, I've eaten, so I'm ready.
So you are ready.
Now, Oga, there's nowhere in the world, quote me, there's nowhere in the world where borders can be 100% manned. There's nowhere in the world. Nowhere. But what do you do? Have we been able to employ adequate technology to police the areas where you don't have men? That is the challenge. Nigeria is bordered by 4 countries. I've said that and I'm sounding like a broken record. Again, Cameroon, Republic of Benin, Niger, Republic of Chad. These 4 countries share border with Nigeria. The landmass between these 4 countries around Nigeria, if you lined up all the security agents you have, will not cover them. Line them up on a single file, they will not be able to cover them. So what do you need in this instance? you need technology. You need artificial intelligence, you need human intelligence. Okay? Under artificial intelligence, all you need are the gadgets, but do you have power to power some of those gadgets? So the ECOWAS, one of the ECOWAS policies that allowed for free movement between countries and also allowed for grazing.
Yeah.
You can graze from Niger Republic, for instance, into Nigeria. And if you find those animals, cattle, donkeys, camels, sheep, and the rest, you find some of them that are carrying loads. Supposedly for their owners, the grazers. But we have discovered that some of those things they are carrying are arms and ammunition being ferried across. And then you ask yourself, those grazers who carry some of these things, not all of them, those of them who carry firearms, how do they conceal those firearms? When they have header farmer issue, you find guns, AK-47 and the rest of them being deployed. So how do they bring them in? So no doubt, we have, particularly in the south, you have very well organized border points. But down north, even the former president, General, is it General now? We call him President Muhammad Buhari.
President.
At a point in time, cried out. When he shut down the borders, the essence was to minimize, because you cannot eradicate, to minimize the movement of some of these firearms coming into the country via land border. More of it coming via land borders. So I don't know how, until we are able to deploy modern technology to monitor the porosity, to monitor the porous areas, particularly up north. Even in the south here, we have plenty of them, where you have cars that are coming from neighboring countries, not paying duties. They come in every day. And sometimes when you see some of the contraband goods, you find them in certain areas. And then what I frown at sometimes is, I want to deviate a bit. When customs go to shops to say they want to arrest some of these contraband goods, the rice and the rest, where did they come through?
Right.
You have customs everywhere that are supposed to man the movement of all this, but can they be 100%?
Okay. Going back to something Ajibola raised earlier, which I'd like for you to also talk about. He mentions the fact that there's, of course, the army has also linked this new group to an offshoot of various other groups from Niger Republic. And
the jihadist groups.
The jihadist group, the ISIS as well, from Niger Republic. And so, is it safe to say that, because here you're talking about modern technology, is it safe to say that they're deploying modern technology ahead of us here in Nigeria, which is giving them an edge over the military?
No, they don't have an edge over our military. The challenge is that at a point in time when, if you remember, when Boko Haram started their criminal activities in Nigeria, many said these were illiterates, people who cannot speak English, illiterates in the sense of language.
Right.
But we suddenly discover at the end of the day that they even have their intel departments.
Yeah, they were making videos.
So they were deploying technology.
Yeah.
And so before they go out, they do the guerrilla warfare thing. And so before they go out, they map out their strategies. They map out the location to hit, and then they hit, they know where to go through to come back.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we discovered that they were not as, in parentheses, foolish as we thought they were. But these ones are not ahead of the Nigerian military. But the thing is that right now, I want to describe Kebbi to you. I don't know if you have an idea of the location of Kebbi. Kebbi on the foreign ends share borders with Republic of Benin and Niger. Inward in the country, from Kebbi, on this end, you get into Sokoto. On the other end, you could get to Zamfara. The other end, you could get to Niger State.
Okay.
So Kebbi is like a state in the middle of other states and other countries.
Right.
Now, this is the point. In all of this, if you draw a diagram with this, you see exit and entry points at the same time, like too many holes going out and coming in from different directions. Now, Kebbi is in northwest. It's on the extreme end on this other side of northwest. Now, northwest has been under crisis. Bandits have concentrated their activities more in the northwest. Okay, talking about Zamfara to Katsina, Katsina to Kaduna. Then Kano, Jigawa, a bit relaxed. Kebbi, a bit relaxed, but more of concentration in Niger is not in northwest, is in north central. Okay, now if you look at the map, there's so much activities of bandits in Zamfara, Katsina, and Kaduna on the other end. Okay, now Kebbi is on this side. Now Kebbi, it is safe on the local government that the state shares border with other countries. Now Republic of Benin is settled. Niger, would we say it's settled? Niger has problem with Nigeria, particularly because the head of is it heads of a state now? This thing is a Nigerian, our president, who took a stand in the name of ECOWAS against Niger that said the coup must not stay.
Right.
And so Niger had to pull out of ECOWAS. Mali had the same problem. They had to pull out of ECOWAS. I'm doing arithmetic here now. I don't know if I'm understood.
Yeah.
Now, there used to be this international joint border patrol that covers those areas, which had men from Nigeria and men from Niger.
And right.
Okay, right now that has collapsed. That has collapsed because they no longer are a part of ECOWAS. That's Niger now. And so that arrangement is gone. So whatever you have to do now, you have to do alone. And if you are doing alone, you must not cross your boundary.
Into other countries.
You must cross your boundary before when you have a joint border patrol.
Right.
Okay, now that is not possible anymore. So if now, if they have to come in from Niger, if they come through Mali and Niger has agreement.
Yes.
They are in the same boat. Okay? From understanding, these men, they speak French. These are Francophone countries. Right. These other two are Francophone countries. Nigeria is an Anglophone country. Now, they moved in, but at the border point of the north, they speak a common language, the Hausa language.
No,
we speak Hausa language.
Yeah. I thought you wanted to say French.
Now, if the people at this border end say, okay, please come, you guys come, we have an idea of what you are capable of doing. 1 or 2 persons come and help us in providing security, which meant that they by themselves have created a larger problem for themselves. Now,
they created
at the end of the day, you gave them the opening, they must collect money. They started collecting levies and taxes. Now, if you now say you no longer want to pay those levies and taxes, they turn against you. So now they have been turned against because they knew and they didn't report the presence of these people because they were comfortable.
Right.
They were comfortable with this arrangement that was against the security arrangement of the country. And now there's crisis. The crisis we are all shouting about now is as a result of the infighting between the community people and
Lukarawa.
the Lukarawa group, because these persons have said, no, don't take away this, we will not pay this, and then fight broke out.
Okay.
Okay. From your narrative just now, the people are culpable for not giving information to security agents on time, and information is vital when you're fighting insecurity. The question I want to ask you is this: why is Nigeria always the fertile land for terrorists to flourish and expand?
I asked that question on another television station a few hours ago. There are lots of issues. One, the porous border, and then our border towns, particularly in up north, are not very well manned. There's too much of the porous areas in our borders, particularly when it has to do with the northern part of Nigeria. And then we have this expanse of land, called like the desert area or forest in some part. I've been to Kebbi myself, so it's not just sitting down here and talking about from imagination. I've been to Kebbi under the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, where we had some form of training under an EU program for the military and security agents. I was privileged to be one of those who trained those persons. And so if you go to Kebbi, particularly from the airport to town, you'll see a lot of vast land, okay? And so these people, they don't live in the midst of these persons. They know the geography of these places, and they know where they are, like nomads, you know, not like these Lukarawa people now that were living within the community. Unlike the other ones we loosely refer to as bandits that are terrorists now. They know the terrain and they know how to move. And so the porous border, that vast land that cannot be covered except with technology or informants, you know, moles, you call them. Now, these are the people who can give information about the movement of these persons, or you have technology. The country concentrated so much in the south, the northeast, at a time when we had Boko Haram ravaging, and they knew the geography and they knew where they were coming from. So government concentrated effort. If you remember, I don't know if you remember now, when Buhari first came to power, he relocated the headquarters
of the military,
to that section. And so there's so much that has been deployed in the northeast now, you know, particularly the Borno area towards the Sambisa forest, and to have helped, you know, to monitor the movement of these persons. Aside from the fighting between ISWAP and Boko Haram, you know, as per who takes over
the terrain.
The terrain, just like the animal kingdom, where everybody everybody has their own location.
Powers, powerful.
Where you are not supposed to get into.
Line.
And then now, our security men and women, there's no way, because of the what do you call them now? The number. You cannot concentrate all of them in one area.
Right.
In Nigeria, we largely involve the military in different activities.
That is not even their
that
responsibility.
is out of their constitutional responsibilities. Right. And so you overstretch them. Just like you have the Nigerian police. In the Nigerian police, you have different departments, but what is the population of the Nigerian police? What is the same thing about our military? And then you have so many of them that you cannot even pack to a particular place and say, okay, you stay here. If you do that, you'll be giving openings for some other areas for some other persons to operate from. Wow. And so that question you asked is a very big one. It's a topic in itself, you know, of its own, that can, if you want to really deal with it, you begin to look at every area, every aspect of it. Why do we have this? Like you saw like the issue in Kebbi now, we have had, it is been alleged that it was those people that actually by themselves brought in those people to help them, right? So they have given room for insecurity in the first instance. What we do not know is whether they provided arms for those people. So, or if they allow them to say, okay, come in with your arms, and then nobody utter the word to security agents. These are no spirits.
Okay.
They need you to speak about what is happening in your vicinity before they can also although we have no, I don't think I'm supposed to say that on air. But there's an arrangement that is supposed to help provide information in some of these places.
Okay.
Sometimes I try to restrict myself from saying certain things because just like the good is watching, the bad is also watching.
That's true, and so they can take advantage
at
of
a point
some of
in time,
things.
I did say I will not be providing solutions on television or radio anymore.
But this particular situation, maybe not all of the solutions, but what should
that's where you're going now.
Yeah,
and you say that's why you said not all.
Maybe all, but what should the concentration be at the moment? Because another report did say, corroborating what you said, that these guys have been here for quite a while, and at the moment we understand that they've taken over the roles of the traditional rulers in Kebbi, and so the people, if you have a problem, you will take it to them. The traditional rulers
before this crisis.
Yeah, okay, before the crisis, but at the moment, there's the crisis, and if care is not taken, they also have the capacity to spread to other places outside Kebbi, which they have, done. We heard Sokoto. And so what should the concentration be at the moment to ensure that they are curtailed and, we're not also allowing these guys to take charge and be full-blown like we're dealing with some of those insurgent groups at the moment?
Well, provide jobs for the youth. The youths, you have too many of the youth, particularly in the northern part of the country. You know the Alimanjiri arrangement in the north, which readily provides army for anybody who is ready to just give food. Lukarawa, we are also aware, are recruiting at the moment so that they can expound. They are not just recruiting, they are also coercing.
Offering them money.
That's coercing.
No, offering money is not even coercing, it's recruiting.
It's recruiting.
They are taking some people by force to join them. They kidnap you, not you now, they kidnap some persons and they add them to the army. And then some are there, they just take, they are ready if you can give them food to serve. Most of these persons are youths.
Yes.
They are not old men like us who will be thinking of, oh, okay, what do we do now? Perhaps we have spent more than the half time of our lifetime. And so, how do you curtail them? How do you stop them from recruiting people? Boko Haram recruits, ISWAP recruits, aside from coercing people, kidnapping them and forcing them to join them. But it's easier when they got members that are being paid. They'll be more dedicated and loyal than those you coerced into the arrangement. And so what do we do? There's so much hunger in the land. Let's not pretend about it. And there's so much unemployment in the land.
Okay.
What do we do about it? Your naira is weak. The strength of your naira against even the CFA is nonsense. Well, let's not take it. But the Francophone countries have a common currency that they operate with. Okay, but take the naira to those
countries
and see what your naira is like. And then Ghana and the rest. And you find that these people are attracted more to Nigeria, maybe because of some of these factors we have said. So, for instance, these people themselves invited these people to say, come help us do this. Help you to do what? Now, it's short-sightedness that we want to make somebody
seek for that kind of help.
You brought a malam to say, come and watch your gate, and you armed the malam. And then you forgot that someday, if you told that malam to go, he could come back to rob you. Not malam. Sorry, I withdraw that.
A stranger.
A stranger. You brought in a stranger, put him at your gate, and say, please come and watch over me, and then you had an agreement. Tomorrow, that same stranger could turn around. Please, I withdraw the Malam thing.
Okay. Right.
Okay, this discovery by the Nigerian military, is it early enough for us to salvage the situation? And what does this say?
It's been salvaged before.
About the spontaneousness of, if there's any English like that, of intelligence gathering?
Do you have, I just talked about you not having enough technology to gather, for instance, the artificial intelligence. And when I'm talking about artificial intelligence, now I'm talking about gadgets like the UAVs, the UGVs, the surveillance aircraft, surveillance choppers, and the CCTV cameras.
Is the drone part of what this can also be?
The drone, what you call a drone in this instance is what I refer to as the unmanned
okay.
Yes, unmanned area vehicles,
okay. The UAVs.
Okay.
But can we still salvage the situation as it is?
Yes, the military are on top of it. Of course, you know that the acting chief of army
was there
staff
on Sunday.
Was not in Kebbi. Was he in Kebbi?
It was in Kebbi on Sunday.
Oluyede.
Was he in Kebbi?
It was that was what I read.
In Kebbi or Sokoto?
In Sokoto, it was in Sokoto.
Ah.
It was in Sokoto.
It was in Sokoto, and then from Sokoto, I think he went to Elela and all of that. But whether he got to Kebbi or not is not the issue now. The important thing is the spontaneousness. Okay. Let me borrow from you now. You know, they reacted quickly, and he's gone there to encourage the men. I spoke with, forgive me, I spoke with somebody in Sokoto on his arrival, and I gathered a few information. But I think he was there to encourage the men. And told them, of course, it's his first time since becoming acting Chief of Army Staff, and on the basis of what is happening in Sokoto before now was a bit peaceful, except for one or two things. But there's a deadly area in Sokoto, for instance. There's a road between Sokoto and Katsina. That road is short. But my brother, you can't travel that road.
May you not be caught on that road.
You know you can't even travel on that road. There's another one that is longer, is freer, is safer. You travel through that one. And so we used to know that, from what we gathered at that time, that bandits, that was their safe haven. And so you don't dare it. Somebody told me the uncle was killed on that road by those bandits. So we were to follow that route when we were leaving Sokoto to Katsina. But even with the security arrangement we had, they told us, don't dare it. So we had to do, is it merry-go-round now, or is it light trip?
You had to go through the longer route.
Which was safe, and we arrived at Katsina.
At least you are here today.
Oh, yes.
Okay, before we allow you go, you did say that creating jobs for young people, of course, ensuring that the country, especially there is food, strengthening the Naira against other currencies, and the Nigerian Army is also on top of the situation. But for the people where our colleague Joshua used to say, when you see something, say something and do something, is there anything local intelligence and community participation can also do here?
Yes.
Maybe for future purposes?
Yes. First, the government, despite the fact that Niger has pulled out from the ECOWAS arrangement, must find a way around it.
Okay.
There must, this
border patrol,
bilateral relations between these two countries must resume, and then the government must be able to work out security arrangement between these two countries, particularly for the sake of the fact that we share common borders. We must swallow our pride, and then we should be able to establish this to minimize the infiltration of these small arms and light weapons through these areas, aside from these persons. Then, border communities must shy away from not believing in the internal security arrangement that we have in Nigeria. Our military men, our security men are the best in the world. Take me up on that, I'll give you facts. Yes, take me up on that any day, I'll give you the facts, why they are the best. But the truth is, being the best, do they have the equipment available to work? That's another kettle of fish. Then again, we need people who must see and say. And most of these people who must see and say are particularly those at the border areas. Let me shock you. Sometimes we see seizures of firearms, we see seizures of contraband goods at the border by customs and all that. You should understand that all those things are not necessarily achieved just on the basis of mere intelligence of the Nigerian customs men. Yes. They are information given to them, particularly from source. These things are leaving a particular point. Those information are kept secret. Right. They are worked on, and then as much as the movement of that consignment is all about, they have daily and blow-by-blow account of all of them. And then when they get to that point and then something is done, sometimes they are leaked. You remember the case with the Nigerian Immigration Service? The man who was coming from North Africa at a particular time to hit Abuja with his men on a January or so, yes, in a January of 1 year. But every information was shared, but by the time the thing was handed over to the NIS, as we got, eventually the thing got out to the press. The number plate of the vehicle, the man, the number of passports, international passport he was carrying, the different names, where he was to pick who, and where he was to pick all the persons before he got into Abuja. All of that got to the media. And by the time he got to the media, the whole thing ended. So another thing is those you want to use as informants, you should be able to build confidence that one, they'll be protected. Two, they'll be well paid, because it's a very dangerous job. Sometimes you even have plant moves in those groups. Right. Who will be giving you information. Just like initially we suffered, Jonathan confessed to Nigerians at a point in time that when he was president, that his government was infiltrated by Boko Haram. He said so. What did that tell you? It meant that we also need, like they are doing, and there are certain strategies, like she's pushing me to say now that I will not say. You know, there are need to go, so don't worry. Oh, thank you. But the truth is, our men must be given proper training. Their welfare must be improved upon. Right. Their families, all of them must be insured. Insurance, life insurance must be provided for them. Take them for formal training where they will be trained on. Right now, to the glory of God, the Nigerian military is used to what the strategies of these terrorist groups. The guerrilla type of... Even right from the Nigerian Defense Academy now, the young officers are trained on that. Okay. And so they are taking around, giving that proper training. So even as they are graduating, the thing is into them. A lot of them. So the Nigerian military is used to all the tactics now. And
you also mentioned power.
Electricity.
Your national grid.
Why are you saying our?
Your national
grid. Are you now not a Nigerian anymore?
Well, even though the grid is an Abiku.
We need to go.
You want to
maybe you carry the green passports, except if you have another passport.
But this is not good, though.
Don't worry, I won't give you away here on national television. Thank you so much, Chief, for finding time to be here on the program. And just like he said, our men are equipped. Of course, the government only needs to do more in terms of their capacity, their training, their welfare, insurance for their families, in case anything was to happen to them while defending the integrity of Nigeria. Many thanks for watching the conversation on this side of the table. We'll take a quick break. When we return, the show continues.